There is one thing a woman will never and truly never share with a man unless she has fallen for him completely, hopelessly, and without any way back. And no, it is not her phone password. It is something far more intimate, far more raw, and most men do not even register the moment it happens. A study published in 2023 in the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships found that 78% of men entirely missed the moment a woman emotionally committed to them. 78%. That means somewhere in your life right now, there may be a woman who has already handed you everything and you are standing there without a clue. Stay close, because what comes next could genuinely shift the way you see every relationship you have ever had. And the final sign, the one saved for the very end, is the one that separates a woman who is simply drawn to you from a woman who would stand beside you through anything. Here is something that rarely gets said plainly. Women do not fall in love the way most men imagine they do. There is this widespread belief that love arrives with some grand declaration, some cinematic moment soaked in rain and feeling. That picture is sweet, and it is almost entirely wrong. When a woman falls in love, she does not make an announcement. She leaks it. She gives it away in small, nearly invisible moments that most men pass right by without a second thought. And here is why that matters more than you might realize. If you keep missing those moments, if you do not recognize what she is actually offering you, she will eventually stop offering it. Not because the love disappeared, but because she decided you were not paying attention. A woman who feels invisible will close the door on her own heart so quietly that you will not hear it happen. You will simply wake up one morning wondering where everything went. So what follows is a walk through the exact things a woman only shares when she is genuinely, deeply, unreservedly in love. Some of these will catch you off guard. Some will make you reconsider relationships from your past. And the last one may stop you completely. Start with the one that catches most men entirely unprepared, her childhood wounds. When a woman begins opening up about her early life, and not the charming anecdotes about learning to ride a bike or winning some childhood competition, but the real things, the heavy things, the nights she heard her parents fighting, the moments she felt completely alone, the reason certain tones of voice still make her tense up. That is not casual conversation. She is handing you a piece of herself that she has probably turned over in her mind 100 times before saying it out loud. Dr. Sue Johnson, a clinical psychologist and the founder of Emotionally Focused Therapy, has written that emotional vulnerability is the single most reliable indicator of deep attachment between two people. Translated simply, a woman does not show you her wounds unless she trusts you enough to believe you will not make them bleed again. She has likely been hurt before. She has probably opened up to the wrong person and watched that trust get used against her. So when she starts sharing the parts of her story that she usually keeps sealed away, she is not being dramatic. She is being extraordinarily brave. She is being brave because she loves you enough to take the risk. The mistake most men make in these moments is trying to solve the problem. They hear her pain and immediately switch into fix-it mode, offering suggestions, putting timelines on her healing, minimizing what she went through. Stop. She does not need solutions. She needs someone to sit with her in it. She needs a witness, not a mechanic. And that is only the beginning, because the next thing she shares exposes even the most self-assured women completely. Her insecurities about her body. This one tends to surprise people. In a world where women are constantly performing a version of confidence, curating angles, applying filters, managing every presentation of themselves, when a woman turns to you without any of that armor and says something like she hates how her arms look, or she feels off today, or she just does not feel beautiful right now, she is not fishing for reassurance. She is operating from a level of trust that took real courage to reach. Research from the International Journal of Eating Disorders found that over 91% of women report some form of dissatisfaction with their bodies. That is nearly every woman walking around carrying a private, silent conflict about the way she looks, and she is choosing to let you behind the curtain. She is showing you the version of herself that never makes it onto a social media page, the version she hides from colleagues and acquaintances and the world at large. When she shares her physical insecurities with you, what she is really saying is, I trust you to see me clearly and still look at me the same way. That is not a small offering, that is enormous. And if your response falls short of genuine tenderness, she will remember it, not for a few days, permanently. Women carry a precise memory of how a man responded the first time she made herself vulnerable. Be the kind of man who ends up in the right place in that memory. Now, here is one that tends to throw people off entirely because it involves no words at all: her silence. There is a concept studied in psychology called comfortable silence, and researchers have found that it takes as little as 4 seconds of quiet in a conversation before people begin to feel anxious, awkward, or unwanted. 4 seconds, barely a breath. 4. So when a woman can sit beside you in total stillness, no phone in her hand, no words rushing in to fill the air, no performance of engagement, and feel entirely at peace, that is one of the most profound forms of emotional closeness that exists between two people. From the time women are young, they are conditioned to keep things comfortable, to hold conversations together, to make sure everyone around them feels attended to. When she drops that role entirely in your presence and simply exists without anxiety, she is communicating something vast without saying a single word. She feels safe. She feels like she is home. Most men are so consumed by the fear of awkward silence that they miss the fact that her silence is not awkward at all. It is sacred. She is not disengaged. She is settled. And that only happens with someone she loves. Here is another one that most men notice but rarely understand the true weight of: her future, with you already written into it. When she casually mentions that you two should go somewhere next summer, or says something like when we have a place of our own someday, or even just drops your name into an event months from now, pay attention. Replay that in your mind. What she just did was place you inside the story of her future, and women do not do that by accident. The Gottman Institute, which has spent more than 4 decades researching what makes relationships last, identifies something they call building love maps, the practice of mentally incorporating a partner into your vision of the life ahead. When she talks about trips not yet taken, celebrations not yet shared, or milestones still on the horizon, she is constructing that map with you at the center. Compare that to how a woman speaks when she is uncertain about someone. The language becomes careful and non-committal. Maybe. We will see. I am not sure what I am doing yet. But when she loves you, the language shifts. Everything becomes we, us, ours. She stopped moving through life as a solo traveler. She gave you a place in the journey. The next one requires the most trust of all, and it is also the one most men handle the worst: her past relationship pain. When a woman tells you about how a previous partner hurt her, about a betrayal she did not see coming, about the months she spent rebuilding herself, about the manipulation she only recognized once she was already out of it, she is not venting. She is not trying to make you jealous. She does not even necessarily still care about that person. She is telling you because she is afraid it might happen again, and she loves you enough to give you the full picture of where she has been so that you can choose a different road. This is one of the most courageous things a person can do in a relationship. Dr. Brené Brown, who has spent more than 20 years studying vulnerability and trust, describes this kind of sharing as part of what she calls the anatomy of trust, a series of small moments where one person chooses openness and the other responds with care. When she offers you her past heartbreak, she is offering you one of those moments, and your response will determine whether she continues opening up or begins quietly building walls you will never see going up. The worst response is to minimize it or rush past it, to say something like you are not her ex, because while that may be factually true, it is emotionally hollow. What she needs is for you to hold the weight of what she shared and demonstrate through your actions, not just your words, that you understand why it matters. Now, here is one that might make you smile, but do not underestimate it, because this one is quietly one of the most telling signs of all: her embarrassing habits and private little pleasures. When she tells you she has rewatched the same guilty pleasure show 4 times, or that she talks to her pet in a completely different voice, or that she sometimes eats cereal for dinner at 11 at night while standing over the kitchen sink, she is not just being random, she is showing you the unfiltered, unscripted, completely unguarded version of herself. And that is not a version she shares freely. Women are constantly curating some form of themselves for work, for friends, for family, for the internet. There is always an edited version being managed and presented. So when she lets you see the one who sings completely off key and has passionate opinions about snack foods, that is love. That is her saying, here is who I actually am, and I trust you not to make me feel foolish for it. Research by Dr. Arthur Aron at Stony Brook University showed that sharing personal details, even small and seemingly trivial ones, meaningfully increases feelings of closeness and love between partners. His famous study designed to create intimacy between strangers relied almost entirely on escalating layers of self-disclosure. Because revealing your strange little habits is a form of vulnerability too. It signals that the performance is over. So the next time she tells you about her playlist or her childhood stuffed animal she never quite let go of, do not laugh at her. Laugh with her. She just gave you something more honest than most people offer in years. Now here is one that carries more weight than it might first appear. Her financial reality. Money is one of the last true taboos in relationships. People will talk about their deepest fears, their therapy sessions, their most difficult chapters, before they will tell you exactly how much debt they carry or what their bank account actually looks like. A survey conducted in 2022 by Bankrate found that 42% of Americans have kept a financial secret from a romantic partner, nearly half. So when a woman tells you the truth about where she actually stands financially, the loans, the balances, the paycheck to paycheck reality, or even the fact that she is doing well financially and worries about how that changes the way men see her, she is offering a kind of honesty that goes beyond emotional openness. She is letting you into the practical, unglamorous, behind-the-scenes truth of her daily life. And she would not do that unless she saw you as someone she is building towards something real with, not just sharing a moment with. She is essentially saying, I want you to know where I actually stand because I am planning to stand next to you. Everything shared so far matters deeply, but the most powerful sign has been saved for last. And this one changes everything. This is the sign that separates a woman who is interested from a woman who is completely, irreversibly all in. Her fear of losing you. When she looks at you and says something like she sometimes worries this all feels too good to be real, or admits she is scared you might leave, or holds on to you just a little longer after a disagreement, that is it. That is the moment. That is a woman in love. Here is why this matters so much. Women are taught from the time they are young to project independence, to never appear too attached, to never let anyone know they have the upper hand. Society conditions women to behave as though they could walk away at any moment, even when everything inside them is desperate to stay. So when a woman breaks through all of that armor, all of that deeply ingrained self-protection, and admits to you that she is genuinely afraid of losing you, she has just done something that takes more emotional courage than almost anything else. Attachment theory, first developed by psychologist John Bowlby, explains that the fear of losing someone you are deeply bonded to is not weakness. It is a sign of genuine, secure attachment. When someone is truly emotionally connected, the thought of separation causes real distress. So when she tells you she is scared, she is not being clingy. She is being honest about the depth of what she feels. And this is the moment where relationships either grow into something extraordinary or begin to quietly fall apart, because how you respond to her fear will tell her everything she needs to know about whether she made the right choice in loving you. If you dismiss it, she will begin protecting herself. If you meet it with steadiness and genuine reassurance, she will love you in ways you did not know were available to you. Put it all together. A woman who shares her childhood pain, her body insecurities, her comfortable silence, her future plans that include you, her past heartbreak, her unfiltered and unguarded self, her financial truth, and her fear of losing you is not casually interested. She has chosen you deliberately and completely, in spite of every reason the world has given her to keep her guard firmly in place. Every single sign covered here is a form of communication. She is constantly telling you how she feels, not always through words, but through trust, through the things she chooses to reveal, through the version of herself she decides to let you see. The question was never whether she is communicating. The question is whether you are actually listening. If this gave you a new way of seeing something you had been missing, pass it on to someone who needs to hear it. A friend, a brother, someone who might be standing right in front of a woman who has already chosen him without realizing it. That one conversation could matter more than you know.